he said or play the video. You have to jump up at least into elementary school. You can kick their butts. Basic fundamentals. Total cash gross receipts, all operations. I had a friend who was paralegal. He was going against the county, and they were coming down on him hard. 3-4 years. But he was sharp. He was replying back and forth. But he was getting worried. And I said, Steve, file a motion for discovery requesting total cash gross receipts, total investments, total net worth of the county, whether restricted by statute or the like, and escrow held by all agents, whether held directly by the county or not by the county, and they will drop your case within 2 weeks. Their harassment against you. It only took them 10 days. Then they sent him a letter saying, this is to comply that we've complied with all of your discovery and disclosure. You do not require anything else. Can I take my money back now? Or?
Yeah, take your money back. Our money. We'll take a break for a moment and do the offering, and then we'll come back to some questions and answers because I know a lot of you have questions.
Yeah. I haven't played frisbee in a long time. I give the boys a severe case of heartburn, if not fatal. I have most state comprehensive annual financial reports on that CD, covering from a period of 1994 to 2000. Arizona's on there, also Maricopa County is on there. Now when I came out with national disclosure in '98, GASB, Government Accounting Standard Boards, immediately put out a transmittal letter to all local governments changing the accounting principle within the combined financial columns because of the liability now that was out there. 1999 prior, it was required to show all investments, all assets, all revenue for the year. 99 forward, they changed it to showing all assets, all investments, all revenue, all income necessary to meet requirements in the combined financial columns. So it's very important to look at back issues to see modifications and changes in the current issues. Start with the statistical section first, but on the CD, along with there's a copy of the Acrobat Reader, Microsoft Word Reader. I put a copy of my web page, my home page in there, so you can actually just load it on your computer if you don't have internet access. There's a copy of Camperman's website on there. He's a retired federal auditor of 30 years. He was the commander of auditing and special investigations for the Air Force, 15 years, and commander of auditing and special investigations for the 8 southern western states until his retirement. I briefed him about a year and a half ago. He never heard of the capper. He was always given financial statements to audit and budget reports. He looked. I also briefed him on the specialty investment funds. He looked. 3 months later, he called me back and he goes, Walter, what we have here in this country is 100% communism under the guise of a free market capitalist system. The government owns and controls everything. And I motivated him to get up a website. It took them about 6 months. They kicked it off. You'll notice on the first page it says this site has no association with Walter Burien. The reason he put that up there was he started getting thousands of people sending him emails saying, Walter, what do you think about this? They all thought he was on. And my favorite screen page is up there. Almost kind of like your computer, that front page.
Okay, now, real quickly, we're going to do the new tickets, which hopefully all of you had given to your table captains earlier. The Inquisition. Where's our Grand Inquisitor? Thumbscrew, get up here. Frank Rickey.
From a financial standpoint, what kind of a job do you think Mayor Sam Steiger is doing in Prescott?
Well, he's been keeping a pretty low profile. That's a good job. His genuine concern for Prescott has always been good. So I'm sure he's looking out for the best interest. There was one item that just happened this week which left a lot of residents crying. Prescott was a very small little hub, a lot of mom and pop stores, and they built a big Walmart complex up there and put half of the mom and pop shops out of business. Well, the Money Boys decided we're going to build a major super complex right next to Walmart. Bigger, much bigger, which will put all of the small mom and pop shops out of business. And the city council approved the building of that complex, which left the residents crying, actually physically crying in the room. So I have a feeling, Sam is not looking after the best interests of the public on those issues. He's bending for the money. I think he would be a little bit better off backing the public's wishes than the big money's wishes. But in general, I think he's doing a pretty good job in general, but he's got to get his hands out of the back pockets, or else it will leave a big negative mark on his record with the public. Whether he cares, I don't know. The bottom line is, as of this week, a lot of people from Prescott are not too happy.
I noted you stated resident property owners in the remedy. Please elaborate.
Well, gee whiz, we just canceled taxation. Hey, let's move to that county. When you implement the annuity pension fund for the resident property owners and taxpayers, being that it's going to happen on a phased-in basis across the country, county by county, state by state, you don't want everybody saying, hey, we don't have to pay taxes here, let's all move to that county. Well, the people that are in that county, the resident property owners, are the ones that are going to benefit, that have lived there, that have established tenure, as in pension fund terms, tenure, from living in that city or county. One of the factors that will be drafted in there, if someone wants to move to that county, they will come in and they will establish tenure. If you've created a beautiful, phenomenal environment to live, no taxation, possibly a good annuity check coming back from prudent financial management within your government's circles, if someone wants to move into that environment, they have to establish tenure as they would in a regular pension fund management. So when you establish a structure by structure, the resident property owners will benefit directly, will have no taxation. And if you want to establish into the same environment, you have to accomplish your tenure as you would a normal pension fund. This way, it avoids everybody swarming into one area just because they've eliminated taxation. Any other questions on that one point?
I know they run with the big boys, but have you tried to recruit former Governor Symington and Meekum? They've been burned.
I'll start with Governor Meekum first. About 5 years ago, back in Prescott, we had a breakfast club, and Governor Meekum was there, ex-Governor Meekum, and I asked the first question. I said, Governor Meekum, did you ever hear of the comprehensive annual financial report? And he goes, no. I said, are you sure you never heard of it? He goes, no, never heard of it. I reached up off the table. I said, oh, by the way, this is the one you signed when you were in office. And he goes, oh, let me see that. He looks at it. He goes, I'm familiar with this report. I thought you were talking about another year. That was his response, another year. But we then had a county board of supervisor came out, that guy I was talking about before, and I asked him the same question. He said no, and I said, well, I guess you never heard of the Capital Projects Road Development Trust Fund. He goes, no. I said, so you wouldn't know what the balance is? He goes, no. I said, well, it's only about $7.8 billion, and it's one of the largest trust funds in Arizona for allocation of monies to roads, for counties, for improvement, and so forth. Because his first spiel regarding being board of supervisor was, oh, what we're going to do is the roads are terrible in this county, and we're going to have to raise taxes to build them. Okay, so that's why I brought up the $7 billion trust fund. By the way, there was no increase for taxes, and all the roads started getting improved in every which way I could possibly look, and there were new lights and everything else. Governor Symington, who I've not spoken to, I've spoken to at meetings several times, he had a very good reputation with the Patriot community, and he was a businessman, but I think he was an independent, person. He was not a team player extraordinary. The most corrupt value themselves as team players. We're going to back each other and do this. Symington was an independent type of individual, and I think they targeted him, put him out of action. He was very pro-gun, to gun ownership. I think he was looking at the money. I think he would openly admit if I had had the opportunity, Governor Simonton, are you familiar with the comprehensive annual financial report? Oh yes, I was studying it all last night. Yeah, he probably would have said that. But yeah, they put him out of business. And they did it by targeting an investment made from one of the pension funds. And they didn't mention the state retirement fund. State retirement fund has its own comprehensive annual financial report. And it breaks down exactly what the investments are. There's what I call the red list and the blue list. The blue list, things I understand and pretty easy to track down, and then there's the red list. I didn't have the foggiest clue. I'd be interested to find out how many judges, congressmen, senators, county board of supervisors, city attorneys are getting their pet projects funded from the $14 billion in surpluses for their retirement funds, for their own personal empires. By the way, the total cash liability for all retired employees, government employees in Arizona that participate in the state retirement fund, this is 2 years ago, was $14.5 billion. All active participants, all retired participants, 100% funded. The fund balance currently is verging on $33 billion. Okay? I talked to the administrator of the fund, and I said, you can't liquidate these surpluses and return them to the employees and the employers, the cities, the counties, the school districts. Because if you liquidated those kind of surpluses in one shot, every other pension fund would say, oh my God, Arizona's liquidating their surpluses, we better do it now while we still have a chance. It created a 1929 scenario, because on government pension funds right now, the combined surplus is probably up around $10 trillion. Okay? But, I said the answer is very easy here. For the employee, based on their pro rata share and participation in the fund, you issue a individual IRA account as a refund. Nothing's liquidated, paper transfer, same management, okay? Total order. For the cities, the counties, the school districts, we're talking in Arizona, it's about $9 billion that they would be splitting up, $4.5 billion back to the employees, $4.5 billion back to the employers. For the cities, counties, and school districts, based on their prorated share and participation in the fund, you issue an individual market annuity account. Paper transfer, same management, nothing's liquidated, total order. Okay? Here's the interesting point for those, I feel bad about this being a private person, but those government employees, their refund, their IRA refund, for those working for 10, 15 years, the refund is actually greater than their entire retirement package. For the cities, the counties, the school districts, their refund, okay, just the return on their refund equals 10 to 15% of their operating budgets, okay, which is kind of like a small example of the annuity pension fund I was talking about, consolidating the wealth to make government self-sufficient. But regarding Symington, I have a feeling he was targeted. And they mentioned this one little small thing on the pension funds. If you actually investigated the pension funds, you'd find a few $50 million, $100 million investments, which people would hang for, but they're not going to discuss or talk about that.
We need to be a little concise if we're short on time. How does non-college education contribute to the CAFR?
Non-college?
I assume that means high school or elementary.
Oh, not.
What's the question?
Contribute, he said. School districts, as I mentioned, have their own comprehensive annual financial report. If you look at your county school district,